Welcome back. Plenty to get through now with my next panel. Joining me, Sky News contributor, former Howard Government Minister Gary Hargrave, and Pauline Hanson's One Nation Chief of Staff, of course, candidate in the Queensland election, James Ashby. Gents, welcome. I hope you both had a good break. Let's get to those Stage 3 tax cuts. Set to kick in from July 1. They're legislated. We should have money in our pocket. Data out today says it's worth $1,300 to average Australians, or 6 years' worth of bracket creep. Now, we all know cost of living's biting. These tax cuts will help, but the PM pretty cagey today about unequivocally supporting them. Have a listen.
In terms of income tax relief, that is one way that can assist people because it does mean extra dollars in people's pockets.
Mate, Gary, you have been around as long as I have. If we were getting these tax cuts, he wouldn't use the woozle words he did today, would he?
Well, no, he wouldn't, and it's our money. I mean, that's the point. Government are really good at these handouts things. This is for free, that's for free. The Queensland Premier is saying TAFE is now free, childcare is free. It's not free, it's taxpayers' money. And frankly, if governments don't trust you, they'll take more tax off you. They'll regulate you and legislate against you. So this government doesn't trust us with our own money. And Peter, we need to have that money in our pocket. We know how to best spend our money. That's what I believe. Most Australians are good at it. Some foul up, but we have safety nets there for them. But the Prime Minister is certainly trying to find the Australia Institute way out of this. Let's have more bureaucracy, doling out little things and making ministers look really important with our money. Give it back to us, Albo. Stop taking the money away from us. Trust us. Let us have these tax cuts. And 1 July is the date.
Again, I'm showing my age here, but we can all remember Keating and those LAW law tax cuts. Elbows are the same mould, I think. Watch it, Australia. I don't know that they're going to turn up. Let's go to Victoria. James, what did you make of revelations today that poor old broke Victorian taxpayers paid Tennis Australia $63 million as part of a pandemic bailout? And of course, the Premier then, Daniel Andrews, before the election, tried to keep it all quiet. Have a listen.
If the government has nothing to hide, why did it take an FOI from the opposition leader's office to uncover the $63 million payment that was made to Tennis Australia on the back of the pandemic? The government can try and spin this any way they want. They don't know how to manage money.
Now, James, I get it. Tennis, and I love the tennis, brings a lot of money into Victoria. But two things here. One, we only know about it because of this FOI. That's shocking, yet again, from government. But second, given they do well, given this was just for the pandemic, they've made profits since, surely they've got to pay it back.
Well, this goes to the heart of why Australians deserve tax cuts, because governments are collecting, well, combined about $1.9 billion worth of taxes every single day, Peter Credlin. $1.9 billion a day in total taxes across state and federal, and they're doling it out to netball, and here they are doling it out to the tennis. Mind you, I must say the prize money at this year's tennis hasn't decreased. It's about $86.5 million, and here we are chipping in all that money from estate coffers. I'm sorry, this is what upsets the taxpayers of today. Stop. We don't have a problem collecting taxes. We've got a problem with spending the money in the appropriate areas. Stop it.
Yep. Spot on. Spot on. Spot on. Yep. Let's go to WA. The news last week that Alcoa will close Kwinana. This is the alumina refinery by 2025, so imminent. 800 jobs, will be lost. It's in the Premier's seat, Cook's seat. It's also in the Resource Minister Madeleine King's seat. Both say, look, it's not our fault. This has long been on the cards. But Gary, if you read all the expert analysis that I have over the last week, everybody says this is the canary in the coal mine. This is the first really big major industry player leaving Australia because of our power prices.
Absolutely, and Peter, the Gladstone alumina refinery in Queensland is also kind of on a bit of a watch and act situation. It's all down to electricity. It's the number one ingredient after bauxite in the making of alumina and from that, of course, aluminium. Look, we should have, and Western Australia relies heavily on its gas industry, but the East Coast gas sector, we are the Saudi Arabia of the gas world. Australia should have the cheapest gas available for domestic consumption. You've got the Victoria government wiping out the use of gas in people's homes. We should have the cheapest gas in the world. We sell it, though, at the price the world is willing to pay for it. I wouldn't imagine any of the sheikhs in Saudi Arabia wanting to spend the sort of money per litre on fuel that we have to, because they sell it to the world for a certain price. They use it at a far cheaper price. We should be doing the same thing with gas. We should be having these industries here. We should be expanding these industries here and making more things here. The reason why? It's the energy cost. And this Albanese government, with that mad, bad Chris Bowen, are at the heart of ruining a lot of everyday people's lives and manipulating us to a worse future than the one we inherited from our parents and our grandparents, and they should hang their heads in shame, in my view.
James, just before we go, I mean, in Victoria, we know it's playing out everywhere. There's this real fight now between those, in the case of Victoria, it's a state government, wanting to bring down emissions, and others wanting to protect the natural environment. And this is where Tanya Plibersek and the Victorian government have really come to swords on the issue of the Hastings port. But we know, as they're rolling out all the renewables around the country, they're cutting down trees, they're endangering wildlife, all for the climate gods in Glasgow or Copenhagen or wherever they might be.
Yeah, and one of the most endangered species right here in this country is manufacturing. And exactly back to the heart of that banana issue, Gary's right. China is the biggest producer now of aluminium. They pay 11 cents a kilowatt hour versus our 34 cents commercially. So that's what this government are killing. And I'm sorry to say it, we're going to see more industry go as we transition more to these renewables like wind. Unless we all raise our voices. Gary and James, thank you both. This is the year of fight back. I tell you, 2024, we're fighting back. That's it from me tonight. Andrew Bolt's coming up next. See you tomorrow night at 6.